If you have significant infrastructure footprint, you probably know how hard it can be to figure out what's deployed where. Today, I'm going to show you a new feature called Sources from Aptible that makes this a whole lot easier for apps deployed via Aptible. One of the reasons you might want to know what's deployed where is when you're debugging a production issue. So, for example, I may be looking at this SBX main auth API app on Aptible, and I may want to know exactly what code and configuration it's running. But that can be pretty tricky because all I've got to work with is the tag of the Docker image that was used to deploy it, which just says main, and that doesn't indicate to me exactly what commit it was deployed from. I know when it was deployed, but that still requires that I go back to the source code in GitHub and figure out exactly what image was built at this time on March 15th. Another reason you might want to know what's deployed where is in the context of identifying all of the apps that are deployed from a common code base. You might want to do this, for example, to identify sandbox apps, opportunities for cost improvement, and just compare the versions across a number of different deployments that should or should not be in sync. Previously on Aptible, the easiest way to do this was to follow a naming convention where all of the apps from a given code base were named in a certain way so that you could use Aptible's OmniSearch function to find all of those apps. But that requires hygiene and it's error prone. And so we built Sources to eliminate some of these challenges and to make it easier to understand the connection between your source code and the apps that are deployed from it. So I'm going to start by showing that first app, the SBX main auth API app, with Sources enabled. Now we see the source that it's tied from. We see the deployment history. And for every one of those deployments, we have a link directly back to GitHub to the specific commit. So we can see exactly what's deployed now, but also the full history of deployments to this app. And if we click View, we can see even deeper information. We can see the deployment logs and the specific configuration that was deployed for that release. And this goes back for all historical releases. Similarly, instead of having to search to find all apps from a common code base, we now have a sources list, and you can just navigate to sources in the left-hand pane of the dashboard. And this lists one entry for every single Git source from which your apps are deployed, whether this is on GitHub or deployed via Aptible's Git server. And so here I can click on Auth API, and I can see all of the apps that are deployed from this code base, again, showing the current commit and being able to easily compare across these. And so all of that effort that I previously would have had to do to figure out what's deployed where, Aptible is now helping me do. This works automatically for any apps that are deployed on Aptible via Aptible's GitHub action on the GitHub Marketplace. So we'd love your feedback. What do you think? What would you like us to improve? Is this helpful to you? Please let us know, and we look forward to your feedback. Thanks.